AI is recording.
Okay, I think we've got both recording. Okay. All right. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Business Education Compact. We're having a midterm conversation about Alaska's workforce future. I have my handy hard copy of the plan here. We'll put in the chat, actually, Carrie Ann or somebody, if you could put in the chat the electronic version of the plan so folks can have it ready to go. So today we're going to reflect on Alaska's Workforce Future Plan. I'm going to do a little bit deeper dive into the plan today than I have in past meetings where we've presented on the plan. And then we're going to invite your input as we move on to the next phase of implementing the strategies in the plan. But at every BEC meeting, we always start with a safety moment. So I'm going to invite anybody who wants to unmute, come on, give a safety moment. Anybody? Or am I going to have to put Carrie Ann or Dave on the spot?
Hey, Mari, this is Felicia.
Hi, Felicia.
Not so much a safety minute, but a thank goodness technology works in the way that it does. My mom took a really hard fall, and her Apple Watch called EMS without her having to do anything. And the dispatcher called her back right away to ask her how she was doing and told her to stay still until they got here to get her. So, if you have aging parents, I just want to champion technology. It only works if they wear it because she fell again without it on. So, um,
Oh,
yeah, so here's one for technology.
yeah. Thanks, Felicia, and wishing your mom well and
Thank you.
recovery. Yeah, but thanks for that. I think that was a very appropriate safety moment to use your technology as intended. Thank you. All right, so I'll just quickly introduce myself. My name is Mari Cosell. I'm the Executive Director of the Alaska Workforce Alliance. I have with me some colleagues here with the Alaska Workforce Alliance and Alaska Safety Alliance. There's Carrie Ann, Cardi, Stephanie, who is new with us, just started, and then Jamie Trapp here is in the room. I'm gonna just
And
tell you
Naomi.
a little. Oh, and Naomi. Hi,
Yeah.
Naomi. Glad you're here. So I'm gonna just tell you a little bit more about myself and why this work is important to me personally. I'm the third generation person in my family to call Alaska home. My grandparents many years ago came up from the lower 48 and homesteaded in Homer. That's where they raised their kids. And then I grew up in Anchorage. I've lived here all most of my adult life, and I have middle school, high school kids that I'm raising here, and I plan to stay here. I plan to live in Alaska till I die, and so I'm really invested in our state. I want to see our state thrive. I'd love to have Alaska be a place where I am thrilled to have my kids stay once they're grown up and they're establishing their families. So this work that we're doing to really drive Alaska's workforce future is important to me, of course, professionally, but it's really important to me personally too. And so I just wanted to share that with all of you here as we dive into the plan and we make some plans for the future and how we're gonna implement some of these strategies. So AWA ASA staff, do you want to come on and quick do an introduction? Also, Carrie Ann, we'll start with you.
I'll be very brief. My name is Carrie Ann Carty. I'm the CEO of Alaska Safety Alliance, and Alaska Workforce Alliance is a new subsidiary of our organization. I've been here for a very long time. And I'm super excited to participate in this work around Alaska's workforce future. I also I was born in Adak. My family is Alaska Native, and I'm just super happy to be participating in this. Both my kids are grown, but they are working and living here in Alaska too. And I'll go ahead and introduce Naomi Ducharme, who is our executive director of the Alaska Safety Alliance. She's on the road just listening in, so I don't want her to be distracted. Speaking of safety moments.
Yeah, safety first. Jamie, can I invite you to just say a quick hello?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name's Jamie. I'm the program coordinator here at the Alaska Workforce Alliance side of the house. And I've been living in Alaska for about 10 years, with most of that time being in the maritime industry. And I recently jumped ship from the maritime industry a little bit, and came to try to help develop it a little bit more and to kind of produce a workforce that can sustain the maritime world in Alaska.
Thank you, Jamie. And Stephanie, I'm going to invite you to say just a quick hello.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Stephanie Hoger. I am the Operations and Engagement Coordinator here at the Alaska Safety Alliance. I'm a new hire, lifelong Alaskan and tradeswoman. So this is a cause that is very near and dear to my heart. I'm excited to listen in and learn and participate.
Thanks, Stephanie. Sorry to put you on the spot. Appreciate it. So our goal today, like I said, we're going to dive into the plan. We're going to share some strategic direction that we've come up with for the Alaska Workforce Alliance and what we plan to really focus on over the next 18 months. And then we'd love to get some overall feedback from all of you on these next steps that we've developed. And we're going to do that through some breakout sessions. So I've said this earlier, but today is going to be more interactive of all of you than we typically ask for at a business education compact meeting. And so I would invite you, if you're comfortable, to go ahead and turn your cameras on, if you can, because it's really nice to see everybody's faces. And then go into the participants button on your Zoom and put in your actual name if your actual name's not showing, and your organization, so everybody can see who you are and what organization you're with. One of the big outcomes of today is that we'd like to form a working group for the implementation of Alaska's workforce future. And I'm going to put this link up at the end of our meeting also, but I want to put it in right here. And if somebody at AWA could stick it in the chat also, that would be appreciated. This is no pressure, but if workforce planning and strategy development and implementation is your jam, please consider joining our working group. Okay. All right. So let's kind of get into it. So why are we doing all of this work? And I don't think this is a huge surprise or a little bit preaching to the choir with this particular group, but we've got a couple of huge challenges impacting Alaska's labor market and economy. We've seen 12 years of negative net migration. We've lost over 34,000 working age adults since 2013 here in Alaska. And at the same time, we've seen job growth. Job growth was projected by the Department of Labor to grow at 1.6 overall in 2025. And this creates a 2-to-1 ratio of job openings to workers. So that so it's a really difficult situation that a lot of industry members, a lot of employers are finding themselves where many positions are remaining unfilled, causing employers to rely on remote or temporary talent. This is really across many agencies and many industries. I appreciate Margie coming on here. This is acutely, especially felt by healthcare in many ways. And it really undermines long-term sustainability and resilience of our state to find ourselves in this situation. So this is why we do the work we're doing. These are just excerpts from some Anchorage Daily News articles that we've seen over the last year or so. We've got the governor delaying a salary study. Staffing shortages continue to hobble Alaska state governments, especially and also felt in state government employment. 50% of businesses reported challenges in hiring new employees, and the latest hiring barrier was a lack of qualified applicants. Amid a statewide labor shortage, Alaska builders are delaying projects and relying on outside workers. The number of people employed in Anchorage but living out of state and either working remotely or flying in for multi-week shifts has grown and stands at 13%. So this is just the reality of where we are here in our state, and we have been in this position for the last several years. So at the last in-person BEC, not the last one, the first convening, we held a statewide workforce convening in 2023. And as kind of a result of that, and the fact that we're having all these labor market challenges, though the Alaska Safety Alliance has, in fact, for 25 years been working on Workforce Alliance, there was interest by our board of directors to form a subsidiary that really specifically and deeply addressed workforce issues that spanned all industries for Alaska. So that's how the Alaska Workforce Alliance came about. As I mentioned earlier, I'm the executive director of this group, and Carrie Ann is president CEO of our entire organization, which includes both. Our organization's really committed to strengthening workforce development, really agnostic.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt? I've had a couple of folks ask if they should be seeing the presentation. I'm not sure if you wanted to have that up.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
So the answer is yes, she's going to put it up.
So sorry. I appreciate the interruption. Okay. Now can you see my presentation? We're good. Okay. So AWA, we are guided by this document, Alaska's Workforce Future. This is our cross-industry workforce development plan. We're going to talk a lot about it today. The plan includes 6 statewide shared goals, and that's really going to be the focus of our organization to work on that. And like I said, Alaska Workforce Alliance is a subsidiary of the Alaska Safety Alliance, and which has always had a workforce development goal, but we are deepening that goal moving into that future. Okay, so we're gonna do a little warm-up breakout because we want to get everybody's voices heard. So the first question in our breakout session is, why is planning for Alaska's workforce future important to you and important to your organization? And I shared at the top of this meeting why it was important to me personally, so you could share from a personal perspective. You could also share out what your organization does and why it's important for your organization. So we're going to do this in breakout room, and then we'll come back and ask for a couple of people to share out either what you heard or what you said. Okay. Then we're just going to take about 5 minutes, and this is kind of like a practice round. Um, so no pressure. Let's just see how it goes.
Are you going to put us in breakout rooms or
I'm
do
trying.
something? Okay,
Yes,
okay. I'm just sorry if I need to do something. Sorry, my camera's off, but I'm locked in here, so just want to participate. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Well, this is why we practice, right? Because here I am. It's like only giving me one room for everybody.
I've done 10,000 hours on Zoom. The most challenging thing I ever did was attempt breakout rooms once.
Why is it hard?
I don't know.
I'm only
But
getting one room.
I'll be patient. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
A little bit of a practice for us too.
Well, maybe we won't be able to do breakout rooms because I don't know how to give ourselves more than one breakout room.
Well, Mari, why don't you let us, the staff work on it in the background while you just have this kind of a larger discussion about this.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
we'll see what we can do.
So let's do it in the chat. Why is planning for Alaska's workforce future important to you and your organization? So let's let everyone go to chat and type it in the chat. Oh, I have folks telling me in the chat that my presentation is enough. Thank you. Hopefully you see it now. All right, love these comments. So Colette with School Business Partnership, of course, it directly aligns with their mission. Soraya says for United Way, Alaskans being employed as part of our community impact agenda. It's directly tied to our goals. Bronson, yeah, for sure. We have over 8 million in construction coming to Alaska, billion, excuse me, with a B, over the next 15 years, and we need folks to do that work. Amy says to know how we can direct our institution in a way to ensure success in Alaska's workforce. Direct our instruction, yes, at the Alaska Literacy Program. Jacqueline, I have almost adult children and I want Alaska to be thriving, vibrant place for them. That can only happen if they have access to good jobs and careers. Anybody want to unmute and shout out what they're putting in chat?
Well, I'd be happy to unmute. This is Margie, and if you don't know what AHA means, that stands for Alaska Hospital and Healthcare Association. So, and Mari did refer to me sitting here representing that industry. But one thing I do want to also say specifically that maybe hasn't been said yet, but makes me really excited for this working group, which I'd like to be part of, is there are some areas that we need to address, and I put it in my thing, housing, childcare, and quality education in our state, because without those things, in many places, particularly in rural places, but even in urban places, we can't support the workforce, and we need to work across industry on all of those types of things. And so I've been eager to find a place where we can work together to address those other things that keep getting pushed back. Well, that's not really our place to work on housing. Well, that's not really our place to work on advocating that our state really stands up quality education for our children and our people. So maybe this is the place where we can all hold hands to work on those types of things, because so I'm really.
Thank you, Margie. Yeah, well, let's talk about that. And maybe we will have a working group that specifically addresses with strategy 5, which is improving infrastructure and access to those kinds of support services. So thanks, Margie. Okay. Let's take a look and see what else we've got here. Jamie Hansen. I think, Jamie, you're with Information Insights. Personally, for a healthy, economically strong state for my kids, organizationally, our business thrives when other organizations thrive and seek to build out programs. Having a skilled and committed workforce is critical to that. Yeah. Heidi, I know Heidi is with the Department of Corrections. She's saying, I think the plan has the potential to foster fair chance for hiring, promoting better outcomes for justice-involved persons and other groups historically excluded or disenfranchised from the workforce. Thank you, Heidi. Okay, we've got Local 302 currently has over 200 apprentices in our program as a way. And as a former apprentice and trustee, I'm always interested in looking at what we can improve. Well, thank you everybody for your comments. I know I didn't read them all. If you would like to unmute, please feel free to do so. This is an interactive session today.
Sure, this is Nate Dutton, CTE coordinator from Juneau. As I was reading through most of those comments, it was interesting the overlap that we all have. We're all from very different industries, very different vocations, but what we all want is to be able to train our workforce, not only for the jobs that are right now, but for the jobs of the future. And we want them to stay in Alaska, to help our state, to make our state better. So that is our common goal and our common ground that we all have. And it's a very interesting problem because yes, the job market's always changing and there are jobs that we don't even know about that will exist in 10 years. That will probably be very high paying wage jobs. And so we have to consider that aspect, but then we also have a lot of jobs that are in Alaska that have existed for a long time as well. And I think with a lot of things, our training has fallen behind with those jobs. You know, we still have a lot of oil and gas around, and I think at least at the secondary level and post-secondary level, it seems like our training has fallen off for those industries as well, and our locals, all of our locals. Our training has kind of fallen off, or at least our focus on those has fallen off. And we're seeing the results of that right now, right? We have most local unions are looking for people actively, and a lot of them, they're not there to find. And so it's just interesting the overlap that we have and how we do have those common goals, although they may look different for my organization compared to somebody else's organization, but we all have those common goals and what we want to see.
Nate, are you trying to say that educating our kids to leave Alaska is not a good idea?
That's an interesting question. Not necessarily, but I think as a whole, educating our kids and encouraging them to leave Alaska has been a detriment to our state. And I think it puts us in the state that we're in right now, where it seems as though we do have worker shortages in most industries. So I guess I'd like to see a program that encourages people that don't want to leave to stay and figure out how to train them so that they can stay. Because a lot of people do want to stay in our state.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do leave because there isn't a job, or they don't have the correct training, or they don't have the correct qualifications for the jobs that are here.
Yeah, I saw a couple comments or a couple people talking about that they, their friends left and they left because they couldn't find a job. They couldn't find an opportunity here. Well, there's tons of opportunities here. We just need to align education and industry, and so that industry has to reach out to education and say, hey, look, these are the jobs that are open, and what can you do to help educate people to get into it and make a career pathway so our students actually know, okay, from high school, this is what this is the farthest you can be, but then you got to go to some sort of post-secondary or to a union hall and get some apprenticeship training or get something to get into a job locally, and getting the businesses more involved with the schools, actually coming into the schools, talking to them, starting in kindergarten, making them aware of what jobs exist, and just working all throughout K through 12. So everyone that graduates through a K through 12 public school function should have a very good idea of what jobs are available locally and what they have to do.
Absolutely love this conversation. I feel like I am among my people. Actually, Bert and Nate, some of the strategies that we've developed internally for our organization align exactly with what you're talking about, that sentiment of how can we keep Alaskan kids here, and also how can we bring them back. Any other comments?
Yeah, Mari, this is Dave. Dave Reese, with the retired, but still with the Alaska Safety Alliance. I came up here before startup of the oil and gas line, and one of the things that we found immediately was the lack of well-trained folks for the oil and gas industry, which is where I was starting. And what we found was the connection between, and this goes back to what Bert was saying, the connection between the industry folks and the educators were so good at in long term in developing the kinds of people that we need for the industry. But it takes a long time, and you have to start with that the education programs at the high schools. I went to almost every area of the state in my job in workforce development for the industry, trying to find where we had good models in the schools, the high schools, but we also found then that we needed to develop the college levels. For example, the process technology program, which developed a lot of people from the age group, the teenagers, to people who are working up there now as supervisors, managers, and longtime candidates. But it takes a long time, and that's why the early part of the Alaska Safety Alliance was dealing heavily with the process technology arena, developing people. And what we saw was a tremendous amount of cross-industry skills and knowledge needed for not just the oil and gas industry, but many of the other process industries around, including the maritime groups with process plants, things of that nature. It really underscored the need for mechanics, for electrical and instrumentation skills. And I think going back to what Nate was saying earlier, there have been some very good programs developed over the time, but many of those have fallen off. Fortunately, we've got good groups like Alaska Works and some of the other areas where we're doing some of that connection with high schools and with the post-secondary education, but we still have got to keep our mindset that we've got a lot of jobs available. Doesn't make any difference whether you're talking maritime, you're talking oil and gas, or you're talking the health organizations and many others. You've got similar skills that need to be built right from the start.
Thank you, David. All right. Well, very good warm-up conversation. I'm going to dive into our plan and leave some room for one more breakout session at the end for some deeper level feedback. I'm going to skip methodology because I'm afraid we're going to run out of time. But suffice it to know, it was a multifaceted methodology approach that led us to building this plan. I do want to give a shout out to our industry advisory council. That was the leader behind creating this plan. We did surveys, we did focus groups. There was quite a meta-analysis, which is now available on our website. People are finding that meta-analysis very useful for all the different plans that are available. And hopefully you have an electronic link, and if you don't, hopefully somebody will put that in the chat for us so you can take a look. Okay, the 6 shared goals of Alaska's workforce future is number 1, enhancing career awareness and pathways, developing a skilled and qualified workforce, retaining Alaskans and attracting new Alaskans, 4, fostering regional workforce development, and number 5, improving infrastructure and access to services like Margie mentioned earlier, and then ensuring sustainability of all of this effort as we move forward. So let's talk about the first goal, that's career awareness and pathways. And some of you have heard me present before that, you know, when we often say career awareness, we maybe think of like flash in the pan strategies to get people excited about one certain career. But we're talking about career awareness that is systemic and that's long term, and that's like the really hard and sometimes boring career awareness work that needs to be done to really educate Alaskans about the myriad of opportunities that are available that Dave was just talking about. Some of the strategies that really surfaced when we went out and asked everybody and did the surveys and focus groups, etc., was to boost industry career marketing and branding. Career guides was huge as a strategy. So career guides are professionals that play a central role in
Mari, you're on mute.
You're mute.
I don't know how long I've been muted, hopefully not too long. So I was just talking about career guides and how that's an initiative that we're really focused on under this goal 1, and how career guides can really play a central role in connecting youth with the opportunities that are available within the school systems. We've had some joint presentations with the Department of Labor, Department of Education, and Bristol Bay Native Association, and some other groups, See Alaska, that has created a pilot program for career guides, and that's a model that's been working really well for rural Alaska. I know, of course, the Anchorage School District and their career Academies of Anchorage effort is certainly, we're watching that really closely and want to support that effort as much as possible as an innovative solution for career awareness as well. And in the long term, we want to really scale and improve these career pathway programs to strengthen mentorship, things like internships, workplace learning, especially, in rural Alaskas, but really a lot everywhere in Alaska. And that's what goal 1 of our workforce plan is about. Carrie Ann, do you want to chime in on anything? We've, teacher externships are part of this. There's been lots of work done in career awareness. We're doing maritime awareness in our shop, and there's lots of career awareness work happening across the state. And I think our effort is pulling those together, but I'm going to give you a chance to talk because you unmuted.
Yeah, I'll just be really brief because one of the programs that we used to have here in Alaska was the Teacher Industry Externship Program. And I just think it's such a valuable program for teachers to really get a feel for industry and really be able to bring that back to students. So that's one of the hopes, is that we can encourage that. I know there are some organizations doing similar things. ARE is one of them. So we'd like to build upon that. And I just want to, shout out to Department of Labor for the efforts that they've made in bringing career guides to the department that are out in rural areas that are really need that support and guidance for their students.
Brilliant. And goal 2 of Alaska's Workforce Future is developing a skilled and qualified workforce. We want Alaskans that are equipped with the right skills to fill the jobs that our economy is generating. There was a comment made about, okay, there are jobs that, we really need to make sure that we have a skilled workforce, the jobs that have existed for many years and still exist. And what are we doing to really build up that workforce and sustain that effort? But also there are going to be new jobs, and we, like right here, us sitting here right now, we might not even know what is going to emerge in the next 10 years. And so we have to be ready to build that skilled and qualified workforce for the workforce of the future. As Bronson mentioned, billions coming into the state for construction jobs. What kind of maybe we can do pre-job workforce forums to align training with project timelines. Those are ideas that were generated with IJA, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. I know there's been a lot of changes and some pauses, some disruptions in some of those grants and funding that is coming to the state, but these jobs are still going to be there, and projects are still going to happen. Construction is still going to happen, so we need to be ready for that. We want to improve access to the quality of career and technical education at secondary and post-secondary levels. And by the way, when I say we, this we in this plan, this is the royal we. This is all of us in this room, not Mari and Carrie Ann and Jamie. And so we do have an organization specific plan that we're going to share, but this part is really like, what are we all going to do? And this was, the feedback that we got through those surveys and focus groups of what we need to work on. We want to explore ways to grow apprenticeships, internships. There was talk about incentive programs. I know, I'm actually not sure exactly where the state of Alaska is, but they were exploring the possibility of a state apprenticeship agency to support growth. And so that's, I think, mentioned in the plan. So those are all the building blocks towards building a system that's really fully aligned with Alaska's evolving job market. So that's goal 2.
If I may.
Please, Bronson.
I just add that there's not support for a state apprenticeship among the labor community at this time. And I think that's notable. Just want to add that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yep. And hopefully those are communications that's happening between the labor unions and the state. It's a part of this decision.
They definitely are. And it just is a matter of if this is something that, if that idea gains traction of any, anything noteworthy or not. But since you brought it up, I felt like I'd be remiss if I did not mention that. Thank you.
Thank you, Bronson. And goal 3 is retaining Alaskans and attracting new Alaskans. So Nate and Bert brought this up early on. So building a stronger workforce, I mean, it really does mean we need to think about how we're going to have opportunities for Alaskans that Alaskans want to take, and how we're going to keep Alaskans here in our state, how we're going to attract new Alaskans. So looking ahead, we're exploring strategies to reduce barriers to post-secondary education, such as perhaps simplifying the application process, considering tuition support, loan forgiveness for long-term residents. Those are some of the ideas that were brought forth. Building stronger talent pipelines, connecting students to real work experiences were brought up. Under this goal is what Heidi mentioned in the chat, which is this long-term approach that ensures that all Alaskans can participate in the workforce. That means creating better pathways for justice impacted individuals. I think, Heidi, that's how you put it. But also better pathways for veterans, better pathways for legal immigrants, people with disabilities. And so what are we doing to make sure that we have a pathway for all Alaskans? So we also envision marketing campaigns that promote Alaska as a place to live and work, or marketing campaigns that are already in place and perhaps doing some connection and partnership building so that individuals doing these marketing campaigns to bring people from outside into Alaska can leverage the work that others are doing. We're exploring that a little bit more. This is actually one strategy that's connected to what ASA plans to work on in the next year. And then doing things like reducing friction for improving like licensing processes and things like expanding reciprocity, streamlining requirements. So some of those system level barrier reduction so that we have more qualified workers that can contribute faster once they come to Alaska. And I know that's something that AHA has been working on for many years. And other groups, not just healthcare, licensing for electricians. And I think there's been other efforts happening there. So goal 4 is fostering regional workforce development. So we have all the regions have different workforce realities. One of our long-term goals is to better support regional leadership in tailoring solutions to local needs. Then this may be like establishing regional workforce teams, and this may be work that is already starting to happen with the Alaska Workforce Investment Board. And of course there is regional work that is already happening that is excellent and could be models for other parts of the state. And so shining a light on that and encouraging that information sharing and partnership so that all parts of the state can benefit. We hope to support community representatives or liaisons who might serve as connections between what's happening in those regions and agencies to kind of help strengthen that communication. I mentioned Bristol Bay Native Corporation, but you know the work that they're doing for career guides. That's an example of this fostering regional workforce development. And of course, goal 5 is improving infrastructure and access to support services. This is what Margie was talking about earlier, as workforce development people, as educators, as trainers, as HR folks within industry. It's not necessarily our forte to be thinking about how to solve the housing problem or how to solve the childcare problem or transportation problem, but these are really important infrastructure realities that, you know, we can hire somebody and bring them up and have the best hiring practices and have the best marketing campaigns. But if they come to your community and they cannot live there because there is no housing, what are we going to do then? All of that effort, right, is wasted. And that has happened. And it's really, really frustrating for employers to be faced with that reality. And so we need to partner. And we had housing professionals come on here in BEC, and that was their number one message to us is, you know, one of the examples that stick in my mind is, hey, you know, your industries are spending a lot of money on trying to solve this housing issue, you know, like giving away housing stipends. Is there any way you can pool that money so you can do something bigger than just try to solve one employee's housing situation problem at a time? So those are the kinds of partnerships and conversations that we might be able to have collectively cross industry to really to really address these infrastructure gaps and bring in those experts who are the experts in these in housing and childcare, transportation. Those are kind of the big ones, so that we can start moving the needle on this issue. And then finally, goal 6 is, what are we going to do to sustain all of this effort? The Department of Labor and Workforce Development, I actually should have done a shout out to those who helped fund this effort. And they were one of the ones, in addition to the Denali Commission, as well as the Alaska Safety Alliance, that has been really instrumental in funding this, the completion of this plan. The AWIP is a state coordinating entity, and they are working on this. Of course, we want to work in partnership with this group. I'm hoping that I have at least a good handful of folks that have signed up to participate in the working group that will help with implementation as next step, to do this goal 6, to ensure sustainability and continuity of these efforts. And some of the reality of this sustainability for us here at Alaska Workforce Alliance is funding, right? Because this is going to take a little bit of staffing and funding in order to make this work. And so that's the reality. We're going to look for ways to do that. I think this group, the Business Education Compact, you are one of our best tools for the sustainability. We're committed to having continuing convenings. We've had 2 workforce convenings now in a row. Last year's convening was really an invitation of this group, the Business Education Compact. So we're going to do that again in the fall, and continue the feedback loop and have it be a space for sharing ideas across sectors. And, you know, the beauty of this group is that it really is cross industry. Depending on the topics, we have different flavors of individuals coming in to participate, but hopefully for something big like the convening, we will have everyone at the table. And the final thing about sustainability is, and I mentioned funding because funding is important, but it's also about culture. And so we really do want to create a culture of collaboration and innovation that can help adapt what we have in the ways that we need to adapt as our workforce needs evolve and persist. Okay, now we're going to get into Alaska Workforce Alliance's BHAGs. I don't know, do we still use that word, BHAG? Big, hairy, audacious goal. This might be a buzzword of the past, but I think it's still relevant. And that's to strengthen Alaska's education and training system for current, returning, and future Alaskans. So this is what we want to focus on at Alaska Workforce Alliance, because we want to see a future where more Alaskans are directly enrolling in post-secondary training. We want to see an Alaska where more Alaskans are prepared for living wage jobs in Alaska. More people are living and working in Alaska, so they're choosing to stay, and more people are coming in and making Alaska their home. So that's our vision for Alaska Workforce Alliance. And the big goals that we have, and this is not immediate goals, these are farther out in the future goals for our organization, but we really want to be the nonprofit that builds connection across stakeholders to achieve outcomes through things like the Business Education Compact, things like regular convenings and regular communications, maybe a data portal. So that's what we're thinking. We want to pilot and scale innovative workforce programs and practices to support Alaskan workers and employers. We want to provide support and maybe technical assistance to education and employer training entities. Not right away, but as we move into the future. And even though I say not right away, we are doing this already in various iterations. I'm going to give you, Carrie Ann, a chance to just comment on some of these after I finish 4 and 5. So number 4, we'd like to be a one-stop shop for education and workforce information to support decision-making and investment. So kind of going back to that idea of being that information center and connector, and always ASA has for many years been the voice of employers, and so we want to continue to act as a private sector hub that really includes the voice of industry in our work. Carrie Ann, is there anything you want to add to that?
I appreciate the opportunity, Mark, but I'm being kept pretty busy with some direct messages. We have a lot of interest in joining the group. So I'm not quite in the same place as you are with the presentation.
Okay, no worries, no worries.
Sorry.
I was trying to keep Carrie Ann to say things like ASA has done this for many years and we are the voice of industry. But, you know, I said it a couple times. We're good. Okay. So what are our priorities for the next 18 months? So you've heard me kind of say data dashboard a couple times. So this is an investment that we're hoping to make to do that workforce data visualization. And again, we don't know exactly what this is going to look like. We're still in the planning phase here, but creating some kind of a data dashboard that identifies the training resources and facilities and statewide collaboration, like who's doing what, where, cohorts of workers who are near graduation and ready to be hired soon. Wouldn't it be great if industry had a place to go to know that? And then like a virtual town square for workforce and education in Alaska. Is the first area, this sort of like data and information hub. Number 2, working on career awareness initiatives. We are doing that right now through our maritime initiative, doing things like career camps and career awareness campaigns for students in the maritime industry. Just looking out over the next year and a half. We hope to utilize what we've learned from the maritime industry in doing career awareness work and leverage that to other industries in 2016. We are very actively talking about reestablishing the Health Workforce Coalition and doing some deliberate work to see how we can make that a reality here very shortly. Hopefully by fall we'll have some movement on that. We shall see. But in the maritime workforce, that is an area where we, over the last few years, we've set up about 5 different working groups that work on various aspects of workforce development in the workforce sector. And it's a model that has worked really well for that industry. And it worked well because in a way, because there wasn't a centralized group that was doing that workforce collaboration and coordination work for maritime. And so we were able to fill that niche that was very much needed it's very much a collaboration with AvTech, with the University of Alaska, and of course with with industry members. So we have a working group for seafood. We have a working group for maritime occupations. We have one for research enhancement and management. We have, and there's a new one that's for mariculture and so on. And then the third priority is marketing piece, marketing coordination in partnership with industry focused on attracting workers in Alaska's top growing industries. So our role is to increase coordination between industry and government efforts to maximize the work that's been done. So there's some breakout questions on this one. And then finally, partnering with Alaska Department of Labor to connect regional workforce leaders to employers, to services focused on supporting the untapped workforce in Alaska. And we had some conversation back and forth, like, do we want to work on one aspect of the untapped workforce? But we decided that we really wanted to keep that broad and really see what we can do to really help connect the untapped workforce to opportunities. Okay, now the fun begins. So Carrie Ann, as I was talking away, has created some breakout rooms for us. So we're going to try this again, and we still have 33 people on the call, so this is great. These are the questions that we're going to break out, and I'm going to just let the groups choose. No, I'm not. I'm gonna ask for you to take the first three. The first three. Let's do one breakout and have you discuss the first three questions, and or choose one of the three. And then we'll come back and discuss it as your small group, and we'll come back and we'll have some share out. And we'll do this for 7 minutes. So hopefully this is a kind of a rapid fire. Okay. Carrie Ann, are you ready to put us, and I'll put the questions in the chat. In fact, let me do that right now. The first three questions, I'm going to put it in the chat.
Right, that will help a lot. Thank you.
You could also do a screen grab if that's helpful. All right, let's do the breakout groups.
Let's see. I hit start.
I see people going into groups, so
Great.
if you're in the car driving, you're excused from being in a group. Okay, I said 7 minutes, so I'll keep my eye on the time. Well, thanks you guys for doing the hard work in the chat.
No worries. I've never seen this breakout group thing before.
Yeah, it's a little more complicated. I guess I should have played with it a little bit beforehand. I didn't know I was going to be driving it, but
Well, I think because I tested it and there was only you, I think that's how I ended up with just one room. So I was like, oh, why did I test it to begin with? Because I think there was I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
Well, and then it's funny, I think like when one of the other co-hosts puts it up, then like I see it too. So I'm like, well, then if I do it, will it ruin, what someone else is trying to do? I don't know.
I know there's a way you can pop into rooms because I've been in broad rooms where, oh, so maybe I just hit join.
Yeah, I think you can just hit join and join a room.
Okay. Oh, these are great participants.
I have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people.
Awesome.
I'm afraid to push a button and come back.
Yeah, we can't lose you, Mari.
Well, I'll just have faith that it's working. So my plan is to, you know, in like 5 minutes, close this, or 4 minutes, close this group, and then have a discussion, and then he'll be pretty tight, but do the last 4 questions and let people choose the question they want, and do another 5-minute discussion. It's pretty tight, but this isn't the last time we'll do it, so we'll just see how it goes.
Great.
I did notice that if I created the rooms and then someone new joined the meeting, that it didn't put them into a room. I had to go back and restart.
Oh, that's annoying. So you actually created these rooms? Like,
I didn't choose,
assigned?
they automatically assign them. I can choose, I can choose who goes in what room, but I just let it automatically assign.
I'm so curious as to what people are going to say about a data dashboard. Or how people will interpret a virtual town square.
Do you know, like, I'm wondering if it's gonna record all the conversations in the rooms or
Oh, yeah.
It might record. I don't think so. I think it's just recording our conversation here. And I was going to say it might record wherever Read A went, but Read A, I did not join the meeting. So that's my guess. We shall see what happens.
You have a good example of a virtual town square that inspired you?
This is something that we came up with Kinetic West. And I want to say, were these your words, Carrie Ann, or were they Emma's? This concept of a town square.
it feels very Emma and Andy.
Yeah, but you know, they've done this, like Career Connect Washington is a well, that's, I don't know if they created that, but they work really closely with that group, and we have a couple of their other examples of what this like virtual town square might look like that we're not real, like we don't know it intimately yet. But I mean, I think the idea is that it's this place virtually that you can go to get information about
I think
what
that's our
across the
7
state.
minutes.
Okay.
I'm just gonna hit close all rooms and everybody should come back. So
Okay.
there we go. It takes 60 seconds though. They should get a warning and a countdown.
Okay. Maybe I'll stop sharing for a second. See each other. Welcome back, everyone.
Yep, 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right, everybody should be coming back now.
All right. Hopefully everyone comes back and doesn't go away. Welcome back, everyone. All right, who wants to go first? We'll do a few minutes of share out what you discussed in your small groups.
Mari, I want to share out one of our discussions in our breakout group. Margie talked a little bit about sharing the fact that her organization, which is, has partners all over the state, have really been working on creating a healthcare specific portal for training and opportunities for people that are interested in and working in healthcare. And so I just wanted to highlight that as something that hopefully the work group going forward, if the idea is to do this for other industries, right, is just able to maybe take a look at that, kick the tires, and maybe consider that as a model.
Yes, 100%. We do not want to redo work that has already been done, and we certainly want to learn from best practices. So thanks for sharing that. What
Hi,
else?
Mari. It's Charlene. Our group had a really good conversation around that we need more regional construction training. And it sounds like it's concentrated in little pockets around the state. And so it would be really good for us to have more connection there. Also, Mark with the Inupiaq community of Arctic North Slope, he mentioned that maybe there could be some connection of their need of having workers and connecting with programs like apprenticeships or internships to then fill that gap. And so, yeah, that was as far as we got. That was a good conversation.
Great, thank you. Mark, did you want to chime in on anything? Looks like
Yeah, I could just share. I mean, we're working with the North Slope Borough, and they have the HBTC, the Harry Brower Technical Training Center, and it's in Prudhoe Bay. It was an old Halliburton facility that they renovated and has a lot of bays. So they're just starting it. We completed a feasibility study with them, but it is available not only for the borough, but for industry to start accessing for training. And that would be a regional area too. But the other thing I was sharing is that the unions were talking about, they have trains, but a number of people train, but may not have a number of positions to fill. And then we have a lot of need on the North Slope, but they don't always, I guess, use union workers. So there is disconnects, I think, between workers, organizations, and the need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for that comment. Okay, anyone else on the first three questions that are around town? Yeah, go ahead, Julia.
Our group, it was kind of 2 points. I think they kind of said, Julia, go say that. But if you in what I do at ACPE, the Alaska Commission on Post-Secondary Education, we try to keep track of all of the possibilities for post-secondary and put those out, right? We want to share everybody's. We don't belong to any particular entity. We want to share everybody's information out. I try to keep that all housed and accurate and up to date in AKCIS. I need the help of everyone who runs a training facility to make sure their information is up to date. But all the different kinds of programs where I see the hiccup, because every single student in the state of Alaska does have a personal learning and career plan. The job centers all have AKCIS, vocational rehabilitation, all the WIOA grantees, so on and so forth, moving on through. Anyone in the state of Alaska can use AKCIS for free through the sponsorship of ACPE. But Where I see the hiccup is in classrooms and the teachers. If a career does not affect the teacher directly, in their family, they don't understand. They're not prepared to talk about that career. They traditionally trained teachers go to school their entire lives, to go to college or university, to turn around and get a job in a school the rest of their lives. And so they want to be the subject matter expert. They want to put the things they know out there in front of their students. Another comment that we had in the group about that is teachers need to have more time in the classroom that they can have those conversations or to prepare for those kind of conversations. In AKCIS, I'm always trying to bring in new activities and resources and ways for teachers to feel comfortable having those conversations, having activities they can get out there. But one of the biggest changes that's happening, some of you might already know about this, the current career clusters as you see them are 22 years old, and there is a new modernized framework for career clusters that is coming out. ONET has already moved to them. AKCIS does come from ONET originally.
Slow.
And so AKCIS is probably going to be one of the first platforms that's going to have the new career clusters in them, starting with the fall. And we're just being real strategic as to where the changes will be and how we can reflect those. But you probably already talk with teachers in classrooms and job seekers. The way the modernized career cluster framework is written, but it's going to be nice to have that visual, have the resources that are around that as well. But it's not going to be just CTE teachers where this information has got to come from. It's going to have to come from the core teachers. And so if we can give some more love to the teachers, I don't want to just say, teachers got to do this, teachers got to do this. I am a licensed teacher. They have got a whole lot of stuff on their plate. It's not a blame game. It's where can we put the help? Where can we put the resources? And just an open invitation. If you have a resource, you've mentioned construction regionally. You've mentioned the healthcare platform. All of those things can very centrally be located in AKCIS, as is Alaska Safety Alliance, as is AHEC, as is Alaska Works Partnership, as is AlaskaNativeHire.com, those kinds of things, the maritime videos, any emerging occupation, any named occupation that we have in Alaska can absolutely be put into AKCIS and very specifically drawn out in AKCIS. We've done that partnership. It was 12 years ago, can you believe that, Carrie Ann? Where we did change like 650 careers names. So for Alaska. So do reach out, know that I am the person to get that piece of information to. If there's something else you're looking from ACPE, we have no wrong door policy. Contact me and we'll get the right people out there for you too. We just want to help everybody make it nice and easy.
Thank you so much, Julia. Your group really brought up some really pertinent points. So thank you. I have put in the group chat the next 4 questions. So we're going to try to do one more breakout group and to discuss and report out. So go ahead and capture those questions. And Carrie Ann, can you do the breakout groups one more time? And we'll give you 7 minutes. It is a little regrettable that we can't capture like the sidebar conversations that are happening in these small groups. I'm realizing that the report out is just a blip of all the conversations that have been taking place.
I'm looking at this breakout room menu, pop-up menu, there's a button that says broadcast. What is that?
That's what I was trying to do when I was testing it, which is I hit that button and you can supposedly make an announcement, but maybe I didn't do it correctly because you said you couldn't hear me. So it's been a while since I've done like a walkthrough AKCIS. And, obviously we don't want to, they have a very specific purpose but we don't want to recreate anything that they're doing. I feel like I need to get reoriented again.
Yeah, I think it would be good to have Julie give us a rundown.
Yeah. I'm going to send her a quick email and see if we can schedule something. So at 9:24, can we hit end? So 60 minutes, they'll be back by 9:25. I'm drawing a blank. What is Julie's last name?
Renfro.
Oh, yeah.
Hi. I have to leave early, but is it okay if I post a link to the AOA Career Expo in the chat for everyone before I leave?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great.
Mari, you're muted.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was great.
Yeah, Sarai, I hope we can connect again.
Yes.
Maybe offline.
Do you know when the work group might potentially start up? Because I think that is like right in line with everything I do in my work.
Yeah, hopefully soon. It's a priority for us to get those kicked off. Kind of depending on if there's a ton of people, we might break it off into like interest areas, but we'll get going right away.
Okay, awesome. All right, I just sent the link to the group chat. So it's the Career Expo, which I recognized a lot of names in the meeting of people who were invited or participated last year. But if people want to register, they can go there. And if Devin's still here when everyone comes back in, he knows all about it too. So
all right. Well, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a great day.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
One of our rooms has only 2 people in it because Felicia didn't join and it counted the Read AI as a person.
Oh no. Oh well, I'd say stick them in another room, but we're gonna close it in like a minute. So
Yep. I'm counting down. All right, here we go.
all right.
60-second countdown.
All right, kiddo. Come on. Everyone come. Gotta go.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, let's just get started and waste no time because we only have a few minutes left in our meeting. I'm just really curious to hear what you all have to say. I know that was a bit of a lightning round really quick, but I'll just invite anybody to jump on in.
Hey, this is Colette, and I know I have to head to a meeting. So just briefly, what we discussed is having a centralized agency to help support sharing that information, like what ACPE does with the career exploration. That for employers, it's already challenging that for them to manage all the different systems they have to manage. And if they have to manage an additional platform, it can create a challenge. Speaking from, that's currently what we do with SBP and ASD. We have these platforms to manage, and it's not always easy for employers to engage because of their investment time and requirements. So that's, if we can already use the existing systems that are in place and somehow help connect the dots, because I think that communication and connection piece is also challenging, but this is a platform that allows for that, because there's also chambers and economic development coalitions or corporations that are also trying to expand the message that we're a great place to live and work and play. And how do we tie that all together?
Beautiful. Thank you, Colette.
I just want to say a word that's come up at both my breakouts, and that word is guidance, and also even expanding that to human connection. So, you know, as was said before, we can't put this all on teachers, although we do want to give teachers resources to make it easier for them to talk about this. But there's lots of people who are not connected through a teacher because they're older, or they've, you know, moved to the state, or they've left some other situation like incarceration, or, you know, whatever it might be. So how can we figure out from that industry perspective to support that notion of guidance and human connection to individuals who are seekers of jobs and training, and, you know, what's available to them here in the state?
Thank you so much, Margie. Anyone else? Champions. Brett says champions. Tell me more about champions.
Well, we gotta, I mean, websites are great. And one of the things we were talking about is, you know, we can have the most, you know, well-designed, fancy, amazing website, and if no one looks at it.
Right.
So we need champions. We need people out there. All strategies, everything that has ever been done successfully has had a human champion pushing it. You know, we can't rely on like a Facebook algorithm to push our message out to people, right? We've got to have champions and find as many of them as we can and get them, make them aware of all the tools that they can possibly be, and then have them physically get their bodies into those schools and talk to the teachers and advocate. Like, we just need champions. We need people out there pushing the message. I mean, there's some amazing stuff I've found before going through universities and looking at a lot of the doctoral studies and stuff like that. And I read it and I'm like, this is an amazing report that answers all of our questions. And I'm the third person to read it.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe we can be the voice of champions in this group and help make those connections. But yeah, thank you. I have put one more time the link to sign up to be a part of the working group. I know we are very close to our time, so I want to be respectful of that. And our group has gotten a little smaller as happens at 9:30. But is there anybody else that wants to make a final comment?
This is Shelley Morgan, and I was just going to add that at ASCPE, we also have new, as of last year, post-secondary planning presentations for high school students. So helping them understand and be able to compare, like understand all of the tools and resources we have.
So Shelley, you're cutting out, but maybe I'll follow.
And so we do have that for apprenticeships as well, and technical careers as well as college.
Hey, Shelley, thank you. I'm going to just follow up with you right after this meeting. I just want to say thank you to everyone. Soraya did put in the chat a sign up for the Academies of Anchorage Career Expo. So I'll get that sent out to the greater BEC meeting. And just want to thank everyone for your time today. Please follow up with me or Carrie Ann or Jamie if you have any questions about either our plan or the implementation of. We're going to be really busy over the next few years, really working on the implementation of this plan. I just want to thank everyone for all the work, all the participating in the surveys and the focus groups at the onset, and then continue to working on the initiatives as we now have them. So thank you and have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in June.
Thanks, everybody.